Coming up on today's show, we have the latest Disney news about some lightning lane changes, and we have some special guests. That's coming up today on Traveling with the Mouse. Welcome, everyone, to Traveling with the Mouse. This is episode 457. Everyone had a happy 4th of July, depending on when you are listening to this. I know that we have been out for a little bit, but today we have a very special episode for you. I am your host, and I am Jason, and I am joined, as always, by my esteemed co-host. First, we have Adam.
What's up, everybody? Good to be here.
How are you doing, Adam?
Excellent.
Doing all right?
Yes.
Great. Awesome. And we have John.
Yes, that would be me. I didn't have a clever quip this time. I was trying to think of one that I haven't used. I've used so many.
You've used so many clips.
Yes,
we've run out.
I'm gonna have to start recycling them.
Well, you know, there's a new attraction for you to pull from. So
Right, that's true. I started to say, I was like, what can I do from the bayou? I started to start seeing going down the bayou.
I think you already did that, actually.
I know.
I think you've already
I
done
did that a week or two ago. That's why I refrained.
Yeah.
In addition to our normal guests, our normal host, we also have some special guests. These are returning guests, some of our favorites to have on the show. We have one and only the Brothers WDW, Ryan and Reagan. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having us back, guys.
Of course. It's always good to have you all on. You know, we've been trying to talk to y'all for a little while because, of course, you guys did a couple of runs recently, some completion action happening on that Parkeology run. He had more than one run in a week. Incredible runs, guys, and having to take multiple routes. Tell us a little bit, you know, how are you feeling a month and a half out? Are your legs back to normal yet?
Well, for older brother, I don't know, man. He's always the slower of the two. I gotta throw some shade on him. You actually didn't have us back after we did 51, and I gotta say
That's true.
After 51, I gotta brag on him. That was the best shape he has ever been in the run era. He had lost 30 pounds before the February of 2023 run.
Uh-huh.
And then he gained it all back before this last run. And I'm like, what the heck, dude? You were so much faster last time.
And then you made him do 2 in 1 week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Trying to get him back into shape. So.
Oh, no.
Speak for yourself, older brother. I'm throwing shade.
No comments.
I really don't even know that we're going to start like that. Huh? That's how we're going to start. All right. So, no, I don't know about Ryan. I'm still tired. That was a lot that week. So,
Yeah, I mean, okay, 104 total rides.
Yeah.
Okay, in 1 week. And as you dubbed it, the 2 runs to Remy's completion. We're going to get into all of those details to hear all about some of that. But before we dive into the runs, I figured we'd first get your guys' reaction to some of the biggest news of the week. How are you guys feeling about the fact that the lightning lane entire process is about to change? And for our listeners, just to lay it out, starting on July the 24th, they're sort of going back to the old Fast Pass-like system where you choose 3 experiences in advance. However, you do it 7 days in advance if you're at a resort, 3 days in advance if you're not. And then the way I am understanding it is those 3 have to be at the park you buy at. And then once you use one, you had to use all 3. But the way it's being told right now, you use one, you can get another one. So you can always have 3 in your pocket at any given time. Unclear now if they could be overlapping, but supposedly you can go to multiple parks. Just very interested. How is this going to change sort of the strategy? And are we going to have to go back to figuring out a whole new drop schedule? I'm not sure. What do you guys think?
I think anytime Disney changes, anything, nobody really knows what it's going to be like until it actually rolls out. And
even they don't, probably.
Yeah, and then they still have patches, and there's still loopholes in their system, and they're trying to backtrack and cover those things up. And so on the surface level, I think it should help. At the same time, I'm just going to go over the mindset that we had just kind of figured out the old system, or the newest of the old systems now, I guess, with Genie Plus and Lightning Lane. So I can't say I was very excited just to hear everything's changing again. Did anybody know this was coming? I mean, there's probably speculation from...
There was some speculation from Lynn Testa a while back ago that it was going to get similar, but I'd kind of given up on it because he said something like 6 months, 9 months ago. So I was
Right.
like, is this ever
We thought
happening?
January it would happen, but
Felt like a surprise announcement.
yeah,
Yeah, it was the
But-
timing. The timing was the surprising part. I think
Right.
more
we
than
thought it was coming at some point, though. I figured it would, because again, basically they're just going back to the
Yep.
fast pass system.
yeah. It's like
with
it's
a
like
terrible
Fast Pass.
game.
It's like Fast Pass Plus with a
Paying. You can't say
Right.
we're going back and blue.
right. It's like
Yeah.
Fast Pass Plus with a new haircut and clothes. That's basically what it is.
And you have to pay
And
for
you
it.
have to pay, yeah.
I will say for us, like we're excited about the 7 days versus like 60 days out, because
Yeah, that's better.
It is
7
better.
days, a lot of times we don't decide 60 days out that we're going, we're trying to look at different things.
Right.
And we're also trying to make sure our wives are okay with us going. It's right up until, about 7 days before, for two guys to get away that both have families to
Right.
challenge run. So
I
I
understand.
think that is going to be a good point because the 7 days will help. I remember because like usually 60 days out, they don't even have the right hours posted. Yeah, you got to
Right.
make sure you have the hours. They update those, a month out or so, maybe 15 days out, and so then you got to know, oh, this is that. And then, for instance, I am doing a last second trip now for July 4th, and they pulled the hours back. They're not even going to be open till midnight on July 4th at Magic Kingdom. We're going to close at 11, which is kind of surprising. It's going to be real slow on July 4th.
So they had posted in the hours were midnight, and they pulled them back to 11.
They pulled him back to
How
11.
often does that happen? I don't know that I've.
They pulled it back because it was so
Wow.
so I guess uncrowded that they're just not going to do it now. So maybe July 4th would have been a run day. You never know. We'll see. I tried it one year. I remember in
Yes.
2019, and that
I remember that
was
as well.
miserable. That was miserable.
it's kind of funny how it fluctuates. I remember it used to be in the holidays, you didn't go on holidays. And then, Kenny had a great run recently, I feel like on like a Labor Day. And now
Yep.
that looks like,
Yeah.
maybe like the time to go. But it's like as soon as you think something's the time, that's the day to hit it. That's the day to go. It changes the next year. It kind of seems like sometimes. So
If there is a holiday that would be ideal, Labor Day is it anyway. That's kind of traditionally the slow one.
Right.
So from a challenge perspective, I don't know that it'll actually change much for us. I'm sure there will be just the newness of the system, but there's so much that we just kind of audible towards the day of. We have a plan, but does it ever? I just
Yeah.
think back to the end of the era of the Fast Pass Big Three, and we would be usually doing our first two, and then not even be doing that third one anyways. By the time we got to it, was just kind of a placeholder. And so I don't know how much it's actually going to affect the challenge. I'm actually more excited in taking my family to be able to grab those things just from a personal standpoint.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
become kind of I don't know how they know, but I'm like the guru now of my family. And like, I go with my in-laws and they're like, man, we're just going to go on this ride and this ride and this ride now. Right. And I'm like, guys, they have no idea the inner workings of how all of this goes down. And so,
Yeah.
they just know, like they called me the magician on my wife's side, I guess.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it'll help with the family planning for sure. Because in those instances, I always know 7 days out that I'm going to be spending time with family or taking my kids down or going with extended family down. So that it'll help from just your normal everyday person. I think that maybe not so much on the crazy side of the runs.
Yeah, we know that all too well, Ryan. Adam and I are used to, kids. This is the next ride, right? No, that's not how this works. Why can't we do this? Well, we'll have to
Yeah.
explain to you. And, nobody understands. Basically, what I tell people when I guide them through Disney, and especially if I have like friends or something there, I'll say, tell me everything you must do, and then just go wherever I tell you.
Yep.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
basically it. Just say, give me your list at the start of the day and don't ask questions.
Yeah.
I'll tell you though, over the years, the way that my family has learned to trust in the parks, it's unlike anything else. I actually really enjoy the days now that I take my family because, every other day of the year, I got 3 teenagers now. I actually just my daughter Tessa, who did a run with me one time, she just turned 13, and so today's her birthday, and so I got 3 teenagers. I don't hear any other day of the year other than when I'm in the Disney parks, the blind trust, that
Yeah.
that I get. If I say we're not going to this line, they're like, okay, Dad's
Just
got
do
a
it.
reason, and so
Right.
that's a good thing now. So
You've got their trust.
that's right. No other day of the year, but that one we're good.
That's the only day of the year.
Well, if I would make a bold claim, I would say on this podcast, we have top 10, maybe top 20 at getting around Disney World people, period.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. Lynn Testis somewhere up there with all of his planning. I know everybody's got all those different things, but the challenge makes you know every loophole
helps
that
a
you
lot.
can possibly do at Disney World and make sure it happens very, very well.
Maybe just to say something about that, I think talking a little bit about the 2 runs this last time, we're kind of getting to that point now where it's like, okay, how many of those do you want to use? We even had some back and forth with Parkeology about, okay, do we use a golden ticket or not? And some things like that. Because
we had one, but we chose not to use it.
We did have one on one of the days, and
Right.
and I was actually probably, it was a moral dilemma, right
Well,
there,
right.
because
Right.
we never used it, and so we kind of talked through it, and we actually ended up messaging Parkeology a little bit, and they said they didn't like it, but they would let us, and we just kind of like, well, we're still trying to keep this a challenge and not make it as easy as it possibly can be, and
Yeah.
so we ended up electing not to use it. But there's other things obviously that we use that a lot of people, even though they're open to everyone, probably they don't know about,
Right.
and so you kind of pick and choose a little bit probably there, but I want to try to
Some people debate.
the integrity of the challenge, right? So
For the
Right.
golden ticket, Adam sort of mentioned this about his trip. So for those that aren't aware about the golden ticket, I don't think this is really that much of a secret in case people want to know. If you have a multi-experience pass, and I've told many people about that, it is valid for any number of rides that are of the same tier or lower. However, whenever you tap into a ride, it first checks, if you use your Magic Band, it first checks, do you have a valid lightning lane for that ride? And then do you have a valid time slot that is associated with that ride? And so, for instance, if you have a lightning lane back when Test Track was around, it was a high tier pass, and you had any lightning lane for anything lower than that, even if you were hours early, it would go use the older lightning lane. So you could essentially just pull whatever you wanted later into the day. And basically, I think, Adam, you use
Instant.
that to your advantage on your own personal trip to great effect, because having those golden tickets can basically make those days a whole lot better if you happen to score one.
Absolutely. And I look for them when I'm on my family trips. Like I play by different rules on the challenge than when I'm with my family, because basically that ensures that, oh wait, I've got a golden ticket and that can get me in anything in the park. Doesn't matter the time it says that you can return to a ride. Peter Pan at 8 p.m. It's 3 p.m. right now. I can go right now. And
Yeah.
I get trained to be watching for those tier 1 rides that last hour of the day before, so that
Yeah.
you get the entire day the next day.
Yeah.
But
My family was confused as to why I was so excited that we got evac'd off of Rise of the Resistance. I was like, because tomorrow we just have a free day. They're like, what? What are you talking about? That was great.
Well, we do want to get to the challenge, but we have one more thing for Reagan especially to talk about. You got to get a preview of a Disney resort. You got to go to Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point. What did you think before it opened? And maybe a little bit, how'd you end up there? First and foremost.
So we were on our, my wife and I had our 20th anniversary, and we had already chosen to go to Eleuthera. We'd been to Nassau, Bahamas for our 15th anniversary, which is the kind of place everybody goes, with Atlantis, and got the big slide, and all those things. And so, but get to slide through the sharks if you've ever seen that. But then we had a day on our 15th anniversary where we were like, hey, let's get to some of these other out islands, and it was too windy, so we didn't get to take the boat ride, 50 miles over to some of these other islands. And so for 5 years, I've been kind of thinking, man, I'd love to get out there. My wife, honestly, when we go away, she doesn't like to be near people as much. And Nassau, of course, has a lot of people. And so we actually planned a trip to Eleuthera. And we had kind of heard that, okay, at the very, very tip of the island, Disney bought some land or something. But we got all the way there with our kids and everything. And our goal was just to see the island from top to bottom. And so every day we would go to different beaches and, got to really experience the whole island. Well, Lighthouse Beach for decades has been probably the top beach on the island of Eleuthera. And so long before Disney was there, that is the top beach. And it's just miles and miles of deserted beach at the bottom of the island where there's basically nobody. It's uninhabited. Basically, there's no population center down there. Even the whole island, which is about 3-hour drive all the way across, is only about 11,000 people. And
Yeah.
so you just don't see a lot of, you can go to a beach almost anywhere. You won't see a lot of people, maybe one or two other families at most, any beach we went to in most places, except the far north Harbor Island, which is where Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce went after the Super Bowl. And honestly, we went there one day. That was our least favorite part of the island. And so we actually thought we found cooler beaches than Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. And Lighthouse Beach actually is that. And so we actually took a boat ride. If you look at a map of Eleuthera from another basically launch bay from a marina, launch bay, I'm almost talking Star Wars here, but
Good.
we went from there. We just chartered a boat and took a 45-minute ride down to where they've been dropping people off on this beach for years. But they said, hey, go over this cliff, and on the other side, there's miles of beach, and there's also a lighthouse at the top if you want to see the lighthouse. And they told us on the way down, by the way, you're beating the cruise ships by like 2 days. The first cruise ships here, so we're like, that's awesome, And so we had no idea until we actually got there. So here we are on this beach. There's nobody there, and we look down the beach. It's probably a quarter mile down. It just looks like something's kind of been built. And what it is staircases coming off a Lookout Cay down to the beach. But there's no gates. There's no fencing. There's nothing. So we're just there. And we walk. So I'm like, we had one other couple that we saw the whole time we were there, and they had walked 2 miles from the furthest you can drive to get to it, like where they basically stopped you. So they did the drive. We came up by boat, and as we were, they were from, I think they were from Austin, Texas, and they said, hey, we just walked through the whole place. If you want to, they're all working on it and kind of doing some plants and doing some things, and they're kind of doing all the last minute stuff and they said, but you can walk through. And so we start walking around, and we're looking, and everybody's waving, and everybody's like, we ended up talking to this one guy, and he's like, oh yeah, he said, this place is still open to, this whole beach is still open to the public, and nobody, we probably saw, I don't know, maybe 60 people that were there, just all planning things and doing different things, all the last minute stuff. And there was nobody that got mad at us for being there, told us we couldn't video or take pictures. And
nice.
So I think streaming the magic, they asked if they could use our pictures and video, and then said, hey, we were the first ones there. We weren't the first ones there. People have been going there for decades, but I guess we were some of the first to be at
well,
you just can't get away,
location.
can you?
You're one of the first to be there, like when Disney had, really taken it over.
Finished, right?
Like it was completed. Or it doesn't look like it's completed now, really, but I mean, it's mostly completed.
How are the flies? That's what everybody's complaining about.
Oh yeah, that's what I've seen. Yeah,
big time. How long the dock is.
Yeah, that dock is long.
Yeah. So those little bugs they're bad all throughout the island. So
I think the length of the dock, I saw on one of the videos, I think it was Tim Tracker that did it. It took like 0.65, 0.7 miles. From the boat.
That's nothing for Ryan to run right there.
Right down the strip on the other side, I mean, it's probably not a mile away. Is Carnival's been going there for years.
Oh yeah,
but they don't have an actual place to
call their own.
They don't have an actual place to park. They boat people over to their little spot, and it's separate from the Disney spot, but it's not that far away. So
Wow.
Interesting. It's interesting. Well, congrats on getting an early preview.
Yeah.
I guess now you're going to have to do like a cruise challenge of some kind. Sneak into every private cruise island without taking the cruise. I think that's
I know where Castaway Cay is now, so you never know. So
okay.
So let's go back. Rewind. It was May 13th. You guys had your first of 2 runs that you completed that week. And this one started in Magic Kingdom. And I think let's always go back to your strategy going into the beginning, because I feel like a run can be made or broken in that first hour and a half, really, depending on how well it goes. So I think you did the typical strategy. You started off with, a good old Jungle Cruise, a Tron group. You bought Avatar and Rise of the Resistance. Pretty standard opening. How did it go from the get-go? Any bumps along the way as you got started?
Again, we're having to think back a little bit to that first day. So that first day was that was our Grail run, was it not? Older brother.
You started Magic and
That's
grailed everything.
kind of the way, as we've been piecing this together post-COVID, that we felt like kind of had to be done with the late night hours at Epcot. I believe that's the same exact path that we took on our 51 completion the year before. And so really we knew we had a tried and true method. And that day that we grailed and completed 51, we had one of our worst grails of all time and still completed. Like it was like 6:45. It was like one of our slowest grails in a completion. And so we knew adding the extra ride, if we could just get off to a better start, we had a legit shot. And I believe we did. I don't really recall any huge hiccups in the morning. When we started MK, it's typically our proximity run in the morning where we're trying to knock out as many things as we possibly can. I'll go ahead and jump to the second run too. We proximity unless it's the end of the night at Magic Kingdom. I know there was some banter on why we were doing what rides the second night at the end of the night as opposed to the way we normally do Magic Kingdom, where we just go knock out, boom, 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 right next to each other. At the end of the night, of the second night, you're having to see what the wait times are and project in your mind or kind of play out, okay, if I go ride It's a Small World and a walk on and let 15 minutes of the clock go by, those wait times are going to come down. So we'll zigzag when we're closing at Magic, because you're basically playing a game against math at that point, saying, all right, this is a walk-on. We know we can go ride right now, and while we ride Mansion or Small World, time's coming off the clock, or minutes are coming off the wait times at the other places. Whereas that first run, and when we started Magic, we know we have a kiddie run, and we know it's going to be proximity, and it's just going to be bam, 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 bam. How many rides can you get on in the least amount of time as possible is really the goal. So there's a distinct difference in our strategies. Even doing that same kiddie run at the end of the night at Magic as opposed to starting the day at Magic, there's a difference. So I really came off without a hitch.
I'm looking at it. It doesn't look like you really hit any trouble.
I think probably my favorite was it Monday that I don't think we've ever done this before, Ryan. We actually, so we missed the train coming off of something.
I think that was Monday. We raced the train. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We were trying to catch it over by Tiana's now. And we literally just missed it. And we looked at each other and we're like, well, we can either stand here for, 5 minutes or whatever waiting on the next one, or I think was it our last ride to get out of the park too? I can't remember.
No. You still had quite a few. You did rafts afterwards.
But we didn't have
we raced around the park. That's what ended up happening. catching the train. Was it that day or was it Wednesday?
It might have been on Wednesday now that I think about it. So because we were getting close to having all of them, and we had to knock that one out, and we didn't want to waste the 7 minutes, and 7 minutes in this thing can make a huge difference. It obviously did for us on Monday, but I think it was Wednesday. We literally went from one station, and then it's funny because you can hear it like all the way around the park, and you can tell where it is, and so we ran in there just in time to be able to hop on it. So but I think that day it went pretty smooth. The first leg, I think that's where we knew we had a shot, was because of MK, because we a lot of times that we know, I think the last time we completed when it was 51 up until this day, we actually didn't have a very good grail. We were like 6.5 hours. But this day ended up being a whole lot better, and we knew, even though we had one extra ride, that we had a shot, because we'd already completed Tron, and then we'd already gotten out of Magic Kingdom faster than we did the first time.
Yeah, you posted your grail at 1:27 p.m. was when you hit 25 that day. So
I'm pretty sure we were in the 2:00 hour riding Carousel of Progress as our last ride on 51, and so we knew we were ahead at that point. But really, and since we didn't come on to talk about 51. That 51 run, again, Magic was awful, but like we were near perfection on everything else that happened after that. I say we were majorly fortunate the rest of the night. We didn't think we actually had a chance when we left MK in 51, we were like, we're done. Like we're going to play it out, but we thought we were absolute toast. We went through Animal Kingdom, which we weren't anticipating to be bad, and it wasn't. We're like, okay, we did that pretty well. It wasn't until we got the studios, and we were like, dang, like we had just everything was just flowing that night. Fast pass, or sorry, whatever we're calling these lanes anymore.
I don't care.
What do we
Call it
these
fast.
things now?
Right.
Whatever they're
lane
called. I still call them fast
multi-pass.
passes. The skip the line pass, whatever.
Right.
Those things were near like empty as we were moving through Hollywood Studios on the run to 51, and that's not normal. In fact, it was the exact opposite on this run of 52 on Monday. We get to studios and we start to hit stuff everywhere. Like that was like we get into a Tower of Terror line that's not moving, and it's pouring down rain, and it's not moving. And we stood out there for 12 minutes and we thought, this is it. Like we didn't move for 12 minutes. It's raining on us, talk about Heart of Darkness with literally the skies opening up and we're not moving. And then all of a sudden, I think like some elevators must have been down because all of a sudden we started moving and didn't stop. And like we went all the way into like through the preview room. And then when the preview door opened, we were expecting to see massive humanity. We walked all the way up to an elevator.
Nice.
So we were outside 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden, boom, it felt like we got to the actual elevator quickly. So, studios as a whole, though, older brother, it was kind of the rough point in this run on that Monday for sure.
We were basically the second, third, and fourth park. We're like, okay, well, there's basically Ghost Us from the 51. It's like, I don't know if you ever played Mario Kart where you're like racing your ghost. That's kind of how we felt. As we were going through this, we were like, okay, so here's where we were. Here's where we are. We've got all the same rides, and so, but we started. I think we started something like 45 minutes or so ahead of ourselves, and we needed all of that time to be able to complete on Monday. So,
we were looking over our shoulder. If we felt ourselves get passed by our ghosts, there's just no doubt about it.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, really, as we kind of conclude that run, Epcot. I don't know if you guys have seen an uptick in this, but as a whole, the deluxe hours in our mind have gone way up as opposed to when they first came out as far as who's going, how many people are there and what the lines are like. Because on 51 that night, we had empty Frozen lines, empty Ratatouille lines, and it's just not like that anymore.
When it was new, I think there wasn't as many people doing it yet, and now people have kind of caught on a little bit more.
I'm not saying it's packed, but it just is.
We did it with nobody anywhere except for Guardians, basically.
Yeah, I could see that.
We could wait on Remy's and Frozen lines to go down towards the end of the night, and then it was basically virtually nobody in them at the end of the night when we did it the first time. First time, we walked to Guardians to complete 51, and so we literally walked from Remy's to Guardians. Maybe a little jog here or there, but I mean it was nothing.
There was no jog that night. We got on. We got out of there. I mean, we had just gone. We sprinted to it. Sprinted from Frozen to Ratatouille because we didn't know there'd be a 5 to 10 minute wait or whatever. And then when there was no wait, and we got out of Remy's like at 10:43 with an 11 o'clock close. We walked. We got water. We just kind of slow walked it up.
You don't ever have anything nice to say about whoever planned that ride way over there on this challenge. Oh my gosh, that's far away.
Yes.
There's a lot of barriers to doing the challenge these days with needing the deluxe resort, but I just don't think people want to make that run either. Like that Remy's ride.
People can complain all they want about that new dock, but I'm telling you, the run to Remy's is just as far.
Yeah.
Probably farther.
0.7 of a mile all the way out there. And that kind of day two, our 2 runs to Remy's, I thought older brother was done. Because we got all the way up there, and then when it closed, when we were in line, his face, like he was crestfallen. It was like, he just hoofed it all the way up. We went from the parking lot all the way to Remy's, and then it broke. And side note, I was pushing to go to test track, and he didn't want to do it. So we had a little argument about where we were going, and then we go to Remy's, and it breaks. I just looked at him. I'm like, see, as if I knew it was going to break. But
You had omniscience.
Because of those 2, you think Remy's going to break, right? Oh, sure.
Exactly.
Well,
Of course. Test track has always done that to us.
We don't normally get too heated, but that was our second day. We were both tired, and that was the moment that it was almost younger brother WDW and older brother WDW right there. Like it was like this was almost it right there. But we worked it out. I think the biggest
The
thing was
band almost broke up for a minute there.
yeah, but I mean, you just know I just wasted 1.2 miles plus the minutes, right? And so you just like we thought we were about done at that point, just because you don't want to ever waste 20-25 minutes on a day.
Yeah.
So,
But you got to finish up. We've not really talked anyway. We don't talk. I mean, we don't jump on podcasts. Who really? I would actually have the interest. How many people actually are involved in watching these challenges? It blows my mind when there's 10,000 views or whatever that ends up being on there just based off the X number.
Yeah.
Like it blows my mind how many views those things sometimes get. But like 52 that first night, I really wasn't going to count the completion. Older brother was the one that was a little bit more on the, we were there and they let us on, but we were actually, how many minutes late were we, older brother? To the last
I think we were 7. I was trying to talk him into posting it, and he was just like, again, we try to be as full of.
I know, but I think you had mentioned it,
okay.
and then I posted back. I was like, I think we should count that. I think I remember responding to that.
Well, we did many situations where it's like a big firestorm, right, over those minutes,
right.
And so,
but you didn't beg, right?
I was begging younger brother, but
right.
I'm talking about you didn't beg the cast member.
we had a
So
conversation
for me,
in the Guardians line, basically all the way up to the ride. So
I got
for me, it goes back to my first completion ever was with my wife, and the same type situation happened, and I got blasted by the community. So it was we finished at a 3 a.m. It was supposed to be 3 a.m. in the parks. On like the Christmas season, still up there for me. One of the craziest challenge, like it was nuts. Like there was people everywhere. It was definitely a 10 out of 10 crowd day. That was the day that we ran between the parks, my wife and I, between Hollywood and Epcot 3 times on that path to make the day work. There was only 4 rides at studios that day before everything got larger. But there was something posted that said, and in full transparency, I didn't see it, but it had said that during the extended hours, 1 to 3 a.m., Dwarves was not operating. It was like one of those like itty bitty little signs right by the ride that you don't see if you're running around the parks, or unless you see it. Like on the app, it said 1 to 3, and so like we were literally cruising. We got to the point where we were going to finish in plenty of time, and I think we got up there like I don't even remember what it was when we posted our last ride time, but they were still letting people ride. Like people were actively going into the ride, but we probably rode at like 1:15 in the morning, which was 15 minutes after the posted time.
Yeah.
And like as soon as we posted that ride, like it felt like not a completion, because everybody, and I'm not going to name names on here, there was like some prominent people, everybody and their dog were, how did you do it? No, it was off on the app. It's not, y'all like jumped over the wall. Like how did you like? We didn't. We literally walked in to the ride that night. And so as soon as we were walking over to Guardians,
walls, she would not have allowed that.
My wife is too much of a rule follower for sure. There's no doubt. But as we're walking over to Guardians and I see they're letting people in, I'm like, oh, here we go again. I'm like, I ain't doing it. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, I ain't doing it. And Reagan's looking at me like, why not? They're letting people on. I'm like, he already knew my dwarf story. I'm like, I'm not like. It just feels like every time we do anything, and it goes back a little bit to our Ride Every Runs where we got called out for the Flight of Passage picture that we posted again. That we posted by the wrong door, an exit side or not on the wrong place, and they disqualified one of our points runs or whatever. It just seems like we're under a microscope sometimes. Yeah. And so I'm like, I ain't posting it. And how did Parkeology reach out to us? I can't remember.
Well, so you had posted something about like, oh man, I think I posted something like so close, and I think one of y'all responded back to me or something saying, oh, well, we actually got on. And I said, well, I think this should count. And I think Scott said something we should count.
Oh, Scott Kumpka. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we were like, oh, yeah, I think that should count. Because if we think about it, back whenever Adam and I came up one short, they actually waited to see if they were going to hold the rope to let us in a few minutes late, because they would have allowed that. I think the big thing that we just have to realize is anytime I've run, even whether it's every ride, Parkeology, no matter what, without fail, the moment you start succeeding, someone's going to accuse you of cheating.
Right.
There is always someone out there that, tries to claim that you did something that's not possible because they don't actually know how it's worked. But at the end of the day, this thing is a challenge to yourself. So if
right.
like, it
doesn't benefit you to cheat, really.
It's like golf, right? When they call in
Right.
all these rules.
And that's where we got to, and that's what I told older brother. I like, dude, we know we did it. Like, we know, like, we know we did it,
Yeah.
and we were good, and we knew we had another shot a couple of days later to like publicly do it.
I mean, it's not like it's for $1 million or something. I mean,
It did
If
feel
it is, where's our prize money?
Yeah, right.
I will say this: it did feel nice to come back on Wednesday and do it without any questions at
Right.
all.
Gotcha.
Not be the few minutes
Right.
after whatever. I think the biggest
no
thing
doubter.
it's that night, because we were still on pace until we hit test track, and test track there was
Right.
no single rider line, at least for the moment we walked up, and that was so weird. They said they
Yeah.
literally told us it's because we don't have the staff to run it, and we're
No.
just like, are you? I mean, don't you? What staff do you need to run this?
One person.
One, a single rider here, we can do it. We know.
Right.
So
Yeah,
No,
and
no.
so that really that was really the like we still thought we were gonna be like right on it, like as far as the 11 o'clock time, and
So we were fully expecting to walk up and get rejection, right there, because we'd already been rejected at test track. So it was actually a little bit of magic, right there to be able to get
I
on
mean-
the ride, So at the end of the night, so
I'm
Yeah.
assuming that they're used to that with Guardians and people like, I paid all this money, mate.
Right.
It's like the
especially
ride.
and that's
and-
like deluxe people. Let's just be real too,
Yeah.
with the extra
Exactly.
hours.
Yeah,
for
true. You were.
that time period. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's awesome. That was a great run. And then you did the next day, but this was a different path. So maybe talk a little bit about your thoughts about the path you took that day.
yeah, this goes old school on us a little bit, back to when Pandora first came out. We were one of the first, us and Kent, on the same day running against each other. Like, actually, it's actually before that. It's like back when Pandora opened. Yeah, everybody was like, "You got to do Pandora first," and so I think that's what we did. We decided to go back to where you had like multi hops, which I think since COVID and the reopening and the shorter hours, I think most people's mindset is it's near impossible to hop, to not grail it and complete. But just kind of looking at the day, we just thought there was a path to it, and so we started with Pandora. And let me tell you, we were about toast in that morning at Pandora because there were some storms around.
we were under a tornado watch when we rope dropped that day.
Yep.
Wow.
And so we do Flight of Passage, which we got to see Kenny the Pirate at the rope drop that
Yep.
day. He was
And-
running right every points, I believe, that day. And so always good to see him. By the way, just for the record, he was at the rope before us, just so everybody knows. But we got to walk on. It was Kenny and us two. We were the first three leading that walk up to the ride, as it should be. It felt fun.
Yes.
As I say, three of the best, or at least the nerds that play this game the most.
Yeah.
It's so fun. We have always enjoyed. We text with Kenny. Most people don't know. I don't know if he probably don't. He didn't care.
Actually, so I have to say something about that really quick. So the last time that I got to run against Kenny, which he ran on this day, but the last time I got to run against him was with my at that time 10-year-old daughter. She's now 16, and that was, I don't know if y'all remember him standing with a picture by Splash Mountain. What was then now different, but with just a man, a mountain, and a dream. That was like the only one he couldn't get because it shut down on him. And my daughter and I that night, that was her only run and only completion. And then we were first to 48 rides that same day. And so it's some magical about when we run against Kenny. I don't know what it is.
We weren't running against him on that day. He was in a different challenge. It was just good to see him.
Well,
He actually has a daughter that's up in Cincinnati, in our neck of the woods too. It's where we live, and so we trade texts with him regularly about different things. And so we didn't know we were going to be there with him that day. So it's just kind of a fun surprise. We've done that a few times where we show up and there's Shane on the rope. It's really fun when that happens. I think we run twice when Shane has run. And so that's always fun to see people in the challenge world. And again, just kind of how some goofy ride challenge can just bring community and just fun and remind us all that we're just all having a good time and trying to enjoy ourselves a little bit. And so that's why we do it. But that day we go Flight of Passage and Navi. And then where did we go after that, older brother? We went over to
Everest and Tri-Spin.
We walked on
Tri-Spin
Everest,
and
and then we had a decision. We were like, it's the decision you always have. Do we do Tri-Spin or Dinosaur?
Yeah,
or Dino and Tri-Spin?
Right.
And we chose Tri-Spin, and they closed it right after we got off, and we were the last ones on tri-spin before the rain
Really?
hit. And then
Nice.
we ran into Dino, and then Dino obviously is indoors, and that's all we wanted to do. We did exactly what we wanted to do that morning and got out of there because we were planning to.
We had almost gone Flight of Passage, Navi, Dino. One of my runs infamously ended when Dino went down like 30 minutes into the day and never came back up.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that one.
Which gives me like that PTSD, of that ride. So we almost went Dino. I almost talked him into Dino, but then we were looking at we had the weather app out, looking at the rain moving in, and we're like,
Dino and Test Tracker are two like nemesis. And for some reason, the Three Caballeros. I don't know.
So that run you're talking about, Ryan,
anybody else has ever done that, but
that run you're talking about, Ryan, was right when Adam and I decided we were going to start doing the challenge. And so I remember being over at his house, and we were live watching that run. Like, why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? And so we were live watching that run back when we were prepping for our very first challenge.
Yeah, but that day I went Flight, Navi, Safari, and while I was on Safari, Dino went down. It came back up, but I was in the prep room, and it went back down, and it never came back up the whole rest of the day. So, but as we were on the weather app that day, man, it was we timed it right. We hit Everest, we hit Tri-Spin, and then the skies opened up as we were in Dino.
But then that almost caused a problem because, I mean, we were uncertain about what was going to happen when we got over to MK because it was pouring rain on us on the way over.
That car ride was like couldn't see in front of you. Like it was torrential. That day, Kenny actually posted a wreck, and I don't know if it was from the rain or what, just all the stuff around, but there was a pretty gnarly wreck in between the parks that day that we also
don't ever think about because normally it's just so easy in between parks, but it's like you could literally get stuck in a traffic jam, like 45 minutes or something, if things aren't flowing the way they need to. So, but Tron, we had the same thing happen with Tron. So Tron was kind of hit and miss that morning too. And we got on Tron, and then I feel like it shut down, didn't it, Ryan? Like
right after. Like I pulled up the app, and they stopped it right after we had gone through on our boarding group. So really early in the day, we got really fortunate. We did stuff in the right order. You can say we were smart, but we also got very fortunate because, I mean, it was literally 2 or 3 minutes, and we're out of Tri-Spin. We're not on Tri-Spin. We're 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. And you're like, it's really easy for people to say in these challenges, oh, you could just get it later, but especially early in the day, you have a plan and things just typically get off the rails if you're missing some of those key ones early.
I think I said earlier, yes, you have to roll with the punches in a challenge, but that first hour can really make or break a challenge because, I mean, you're kind of banking on some walk-ons right there. You're banking on not having to cover a lot of ground. You're banking on not having to double back. And anytime you don't hit that, that's 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes back onto the clock that you weren't planning on. So, But I will say there is nothing more fun than that early morning Magic Kingdom flying through the park. I love that. That's my favorite part of any challenge run myself.
And so that's where we got to be a little different that second day because we knew we were finishing there. We really came back for, after Animal, we came just really for those transportation rides. We got MSV, which is, we started with Tron and we ran out and there was MSV perfectly at the castle, which was just, I mean, it didn't have to go hunted at all. It was just there. So that was nice. We went ahead and got Jungle Cruise. That was our first lightning lane of the day. And then the crazier one there is we were just kind of looking over at Big Thunder and it was previously, I think must have been previously down with the rain too, but it's a walk on. Like we see nobody there. It's got a 5-minute, wait time posted and we go up and walk all the way to the train. And so that wasn't one we were going to get in the morning per se, but as I saw it, there was like, we don't have to run all the way up to the corner of the park at night.
Yeah.
And so you're starting to think a little bit that way of how you're finishing the night. And then, it's crazy. Then you start doing things that only we do, zig and zag, and we go Big Thunder all the way to People Mover. Like, who does that? Like, that's insane from one side to the other. I can't even remember why we did that. I'm just kind of looking through the app now going, what?
I think you were headed to Carousel of Progress. You're trying to get Carousel, so you probably wanted to pick that up.
Yeah, we hit both of those back to back. You're correct.
Big Thunder was kind of an extra. We were not trying to get that one until we got back there later. But probably my favorite of the day. We've had probably two. This was probably our second all-time run to the riverboat. Our best run to the riverboat was on a non-completion day. We came from the front gate to the riverboat, I think in about 3 minutes, Ryan, if I remember right.
To get to one of the hours, 30 or on the hour.
back in the park, and
Oh.
yeah, and that was crazy. That's the most dead sprint. But this was second because, and I probably was slower. He'll tell you, but I think I actually beat you because you went
We
around.
went different ways. That's
I ran right through the middle.
No.
We got off of Space Mountain.
we
at
rode Space. I'm looking at the timestamp. We rode Space Mountain at 10:49 and 42 seconds, and then still made the 11 o'clock riverboat. And you could tell I got more sweat on my picture after the Space Mountain picture to the riverboat picture to the video there. I'm dripping. We were busting it, and I went from like Space Mountain exit, and I started going. I'm like, I'm in front of him. Usually this is just a fun side bit. If we're running, I let older brother lead. I let Reagan lead, and he just knows I'll be right there because I don't typically, like, my pace is quicker than his. Let's just be real a little bit. But if we really have to make it somewhere, I will go ahead and hoof it. And then I will put that I'm younger than you and your younger brother is beating you vibe on him so that he has to pick up his pace if we got to get somewhere. And so I set out from Space Mountain thinking, all right, I'm going to show him a thing or two here. I'm going to like sprint out ahead and put the pressure, the peer pressure on him to go. And I don't look back. And so I ran by Tomorrowland Speedway. I go up and around like Teacups and Pooh and Seven Dwarfs, Peter Pan. And I run up Riverboat and he's there. I'm like,
Wow.
what?
Nice.
And then I realized he cut through the middle of the park. I'm an idiot. So I didn't think about A to B in the quickest route right there.
Work smarter, not harder, right, Reagan?
Hey, every step counts. All right, with this guy right here. So
Yeah.
And then that is, as I'm looking at it, we're day 2. We came off Liberty Boat, did the rafts, and as we're on the rafts coming back, which by the way, the rafts are the best ride at Disney.
They are.
I didn't throw that out there. Anyways, we hear the whistle as we're on the rafts going back, and we're like, we're not gonna make that train that's going up to Tiana, Splash Mountain, whatever you want to call it. And sure enough, we start to kind of jog up that way, and it's starting to move away. And I look at him, and I'm like, that's all we have to do this right now.
Yeah.
That's all. Like, we have to do this right now. Are we gonna wait here, or let's run over to Barnstormer, and then at least at that point, we're using time, moving and running. Like, so if we would have waited there for 5 minutes, gotten on that one, it would have taken us to Barnstormer, and then we would have had to have run out the front. But now we go ahead and knock out the running piece, and we're literally racing the train around to where we catch it over at Barnstormer, get on there, and it takes us to the front, which then saves us at least a few steps.
most of the time we are jogging through the parks. It's not a full sprint, but there was a couple full sprints that were right here. And I'll tell you, I just have to say this: my pace, we don't run over anybody. Ryan can't always say that. I just want to tell you. There's been a couple close calls with Ryan.
I've made jump the stroller before. It's like out of nowhere. Like, it's like, people aren't looking and they push out like out of Pan or out of Small World as they come out of that area, and you're like, oh, or whatever. But I've never hit anybody. I've never hit anybody.
Yeah.
So,
Sure you have it.
That's a pretty solid MK though. So I mean, this is old school 2019 path, basically, right? You start at Animal, you go, you clean up a little bit of Magic, and you know you're going to finish the night. Because remember, everybody used to always finish at Magic. They used to always be the end goal.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot right now that start with Animal, then go to Magic, and then go back to Animal. Like, we were Animal, Magic, Animal to kind of clean up Animal, like in the first. That's a bunch of hops in this era. But we like to try new ways. We like to be trailblazers when it comes to like, hey, like, how do you tackle this problem in this era? And we just hadn't seen anybody not grail it and really had success. And truthfully, there's not been a whole lot of people attempt the Parkeology challenge period of late. Mm-hmm. In fact, I think we looked it up. Like, these 3 Parkeology completions are the last since 2019. Mm-hmm. 51 last February, and then 52 twice. That's it in the Parkeology, and that includes like the every ride Parkeology, like open rides. Nobody's done the open ride, every single ride of Parkeology, the original OG challenge, since 17. And so there just hasn't been a whole lot. 19 had the Hurricane run in September where we ran like through all of them really fast, and then like when Star Wars Land opened, like that September, like everybody was completing. There was a couple more trickle ones in October, and I think early November of 19 was the last one prior to 23 when we got the 51, and then this time. So there's not a whole lot of people attempting it. Again, part of the fun for us is just the strategy of how do we tackle the day. And to be able to like multi-hop did take us a little bit back to like old school and when we were first watching people, and it was just fun. It did. It felt like kind of how we first learned to run. And I don't know, it just flowed really well outside of the weather delays. As we got over and finished Animal Kingdom, I actually felt pretty good about our chances, kind of where we were at in the day and how it had transpired. And then we just tried to do what we normally do and put our speed to the test and try to pick up a lot of time when we get into the parking lots. And then we've talked about it a lot in the last month and a half. Like, I think we kind of touched on it the last time we were here on the show, but like how you dismount the ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Is where we feel like we pick up the most time. Like, it's not just straight sprinting. Like, Reagan, what do you think? I think we hit this last time and we've talked about it more.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the like most time-saving rides when you're dismounting?
I think one of them. We actually laughed about this because both times we rode soaring. You got on the far side away from the door.
You're on the wrong side of the room.
On the wrong side of the room both times. But there's little things like if you'll just walk to the front and walk, we're not picking stuff up or any of that. If we can still, even though both times we were on the far side of the door, we were the first ones out the door.
Yeah.
But if you get behind everybody and their mom and their preschooler, right. And I mean, you can't pass people in those hallways,
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you save minutes by, if anybody's listening that wants to try this challenge that's never done it, I just want to tell you, you're going to have to jump off a ride because by the time you do that 52 times 2 or 3 minutes, you just saved yourself a lot of time.
Hour and a half to 2. Like, and you just don't think about it. Like, you're at Big Thunder and you're at the back, Big Thunder Railroad, you get off and you're like towards the back row and you've got to jump off and be in front of those people before they take their time to get out of their seats and you got to get out.
You have about a 2 to 3 second window when a ride pulls in to be the first one off. And if you miss that window, then you're not it. And we miss the window sometimes. It's not every single time, but I'd say 95% of the time, that's where we're shaving off a lot of minutes. So you got a long exit off of every ride, so.
Yeah.
The best to leave, obviously, Soarin' is fun to leave on a challenge. I think Barnstormer is another one that you just got to get. You got to get off Barnstormer quickly.
Right.
Space is the most annoying one because even if you get off quickly, there's the people that got off before you that are still up in front of you.
Yeah.
That is the absolute most.
That's the only ride that makes the older brother will walk right up behind somebody if they're taking their sweet time. He'll tailgate on the Space Mountain. That's we're not usually rude at all.
I'm just drafting. That's all. So.
Not tailgating. He's drafting. But no, they're all over the place. Toy Story Mania is another one with that long hallway. I mean, they're just the minutes in this run are everywhere. Like, they're just everywhere. And a lot of times people will point out that we run fast or jog fast or whatever you want to say, but it's more the dismount. And you just don't realize that, again, a minute or two times 52, it's everything. And so,
I think something to be said, just big picture about this. I think when 2020 hit, we took it a little bit personally. Everybody, a lot of times, really felt like the challenge was kind of over. It was another moment where, just kind of probably felt a little bit like Shane and Ted originally felt, right? Of people telling them that you couldn't do it. And I think that's something we take personally, is every time a new ride is added, every time something changes, multi-pass, whatever, it's like, it's fun for us to figure out how can we still make this doable for the rest of the world, so, because I think for us,
the dream is alive.
Right. You had to prove it.
Right.
So let me get to that because y'all have already sort of hit some of the highlights. We had Tiana's. You mentioned it's another 15 minutes back on the 15 at least minutes ride time, just onto the path. I guess on the Grail runs, that's not too bad of a deal if you hit everything perfectly. Do you see that being a big wrench in any of your plans for upcoming runs?
Okay, I love Splash Mountain as I'm just riding it, but I was not sad to see it go for this temporary. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a 15-minute ride if the logs are unloading properly at the
Right.
end. Which, how often are they not? It's just like if you want to get it out of the way in the morning, it's just you're losing 15 minutes where you could have been riding. You're doing the kiddie round or whatever you want to call it. So it's a problem. I think it's a problem.
Well, he also
And not
right
to
now
mention
it's
that it doesn't stay up.
I was gonna say right now it has a pretty big reliability issue.
Can
Yeah.
we just all agree it's always good when the logs unload properly, guys?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's going to be a clip Adam's going to say right there.
Oh, you guys don't even know the half of the stuff that he's clipped out.
Right.
And
Well,
it's
I've got
always
stuff
on
on all
it's
you.
always on Jason and I though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do the
It's
editing.
never his
so,
own. He
you
never
know.
does his own stuff.
I don't say anything. That's,
Right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so we're obviously not going to say it's impossible, but it definitely adds back another 15-minute ride layer challenge, whatever you want to call
I mean,
it.
they're probably 15 minutes savable in a couple of those runs if things went a little bit better. I mean, it's not like it's outside of the realm of possibility. We haven't hit impossibility yet. And also, if Disney ever decided to start running crazy hours like they used to,
Right.
some of these longer days, because I remember, nowadays finding a 17-hour day is nigh impossible.
Here's the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, we had some extra time on Wednesday. Didn't we finish with some extra time?
No, we didn't. I mean, we were in line for dwarves. Again, how do you tackle dwarves? Like, we were on Orbiter. I'm looking at it at 33. Obviously, the park closed at midnight, and so we were in the dwarves line by 42. So yeah, we probably had 15 minutes per se. Theoretically, if all had gone well, wasn't like we were, stopping to eat dinner or anything like that. So
We did stop for a cup of water on the way over, I think.
yeah, that second day, I mean, it did. The second day flowed well. Kind of looking back through it, it was the second day that we had the slinky dog that converted, that we could have used the golden ticket at Studios. You had text with Parkeology, just chose not to use it, and then it really just kind of flowed all the way to the end of that night. And again, and I would say that if you're finishing at Magic Kingdom, the ride order at the end of the night, we do that because, again, we know the times will come down, and so we don't proximity that park. Kind of alluded to that earlier.
Yeah.
We definitely run Magic Kingdom at night differently than we run Magic Kingdom open.
The hardest thing at the end of the night, we had several rides down, and again, that was the same way we started in the morning. That the evening, we got off of Carousel in the middle, and that's when It's a Small World opened back up, and it had been down. And then I feel like there was 2 or 3 others, and we only needed like 5 rides, and they were all down. But you just have to. It's a waiting game right there at the end, and it just drives you nuts, and you're going crazy. You don't think it's going to happen, but then sometimes it magically does. So
yeah, we had 5 rides left at Magic, and 3 were down at one point. You can actually look at ride 48. I don't know if you know me out there. That was my smile on the picture. That's not really a smile on Carousel.
Right.
That was if you look at picture 48, I'm like, we are so in trouble. Is what it is. Like, Reagan's got a smile, and I kind of got this, like
Right.
I'm thinking we are so done. Like, we have to have these rides open now. And truthfully, in my mind, it had to be Small World, because even when Winnie the Pooh before it went down, it was posted 35 minutes. And I was just kind of looking at what was left. Small World, Winnie the Pooh, Orbiter, which was backed up. It was open.
sometimes I think people do the run, or people are just there during deluxe hours. That is maybe been documented. I don't know, but the times are not right at the end of the night.
They don't update the app at all, like as far as the wait times.
Winnie the Pooh's still at 35, so when we walked back, we literally were having to eyeball everything
Right.
and run back and
It really
forth.
was for a bit. Before it went down, it was long. And then, like, it had Orbiter posted 5, and it was like 3 rails wrapped back and forth. Or like, that's like 30. Like,
Yeah.
And so you have to know the parks a little bit there in those moments, because I don't know if they just don't update them as frequently or what.
That's where experience helps.
Whoever updates those times, they're trying to move you a little bit as well with those, I think. And then also, they're just not as accurate. I think somebody's ready to go to bed. Whatever. Whoever's updating those
Staffing issues again.
yeah.
They do want you out of the line. And then I think that's where the experience does come into play. Like, your first run, you're going to struggle if you ever do a first run, because you need to know how to look at a line and know if it's accurate. Because, I can walk up to most lines at Disney World and tell you how long that's going to be. assuming no breakdowns. Right.
man.
But like the first time I went to Disneyland, I felt blind because I was like, I have no idea how long that's going to actually be. I'm like, I don't even know. Is this 15 or 50? What is this? What is this? So you got to learn the park.
That is why older brothers, teenagers trust him when he's in the parks because they know he knows that right there. He's not going to take them to a line.
On the line. So
Adam and I were just there with our kids, and Jungle was posted 50 or 60 or something, and I just walked over there and I was like, oh, this is a walk-on, man. It was like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was.
What time of day was that? Why was it posted so long?
I don't know. It was like 11
was
o'clock in the
midday,
morning.
or-
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
11 o'clock, 11:30. It was just
Something like that. yeah.
nobody was in there.
I think it was 12 minutes. I timed
Yeah.
it. But yeah, to be exact.
you guys were fortunate if you were riding that in 12 minutes without a lightning lane
Yeah.
I
in the
know.
middle of the day.
Yeah.
So
That was
Because
insane.
we were trying to do something before
that
lunch
was
at
one of the
Skipper
lines you
Canteen.
don't want to do standby. You've got
No.
to have a lane for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We
crazy.
had lunch at Skipper Canteen, and we just got off Pirates. We were like, well, what can we do? And nobody could agree because whatever the kids wanted to do, Thunder was down,
Yeah.
right? Thunder
Right, it
was
down
down
almost all day that day. Yeah.
because we were there to ride Tiana's. And so I was like, well, I want to do the Tiki Room. And nobody wanted to do the Tiki Room. with
No.
me. So I was like, well, let's just go look at the line. And I was like, over here, because your son was like trying to play in the water. I'm like, this line is like nothing.
Okay,
Yeah.
now here's the real question. Do any of you guys sing during the Tiki Room?
Oh, I sing
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Definitely. Country
Yeah.
Radio Jamboree too. I used to love singing all the songs.
All those.
And
now you
now-
got to find out what
Now
the
you gotta
songs
learn the
are.
new songs.
I know. Now I'm like, well, I already know them because they're all Disney songs. So
Oh, that's right.
Wrong.
It's all IP.
that's what
now,
it seems
right?
like.
The other question is, anybody when you get to the end of Tiana's, are you still going to sing Zippity Doodle? That's the question.
Oh,
You guys
I
wrote
just-
it, didn't you? Do the preview days?
We did. We
The
got
new
to write
song
it
is catchy
twice.
though. I like.
I
the
do
new
like
song.
the new song.
Yeah.
I've heard a couple people complain. I feel like the last scene in Tiana's is really good, but for some reason I feel like you move through it faster
Yeah.
than you
Well,
did.
see, I know you were talking about adding 15 minutes. I was like, I've been hearing some people say that they shaved like 3 minutes off the ride time somehow.
As long as it doesn't break down.
Right,
Like,
right, the regular
I feel like
ride time.
the water speed in that room. I'm like, I'm just
It's
now getting my
fast, yeah.
bearings, and you're out of it.
I think they are somehow moving you through faster. I tried watching a side by side just the other day, and I honestly feel like the
Yeah.
lift hills are going a little faster. Like it's
They
minuscule.
probably replaced them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Every
think
minute counts. Every
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah, no, I
There's
really
minutes.
enjoyed. I really enjoyed it. I'm going back this week with my son. Hopefully, we'll get to ride it again this time post open. I'm glad I already got it in though because it's breaking down
Yeah.
about every day.
Yeah.
As if it
Yeah.
opened much in the open era.
I feel like that's going to be the real challenge. Is you can't play in Tiana's. You just take it when it's open. That's what's going to
Right.
end up happening in the challenge.
Yeah.
And we typically do our research on these new things like, the July changes or these new ride. We haven't even looked at it. Like typically one of us go to the park with family and we kind of figure it out over there. Is it not letting you, this is me asking you guys, is it not letting you grab two virtual queues at the same time, Tron?
You
And
cannot. You cannot. You can only get one of them. So I don't think they'll probably have Tiana's on virtual queue for very long. I think it's going to be a lot like how Ratatouille was, right, where they opened with virtual. But no, you have to pick one. So you're going to have to buy one of them, essentially.
Now that's probably also assuming that they figure out what's keeping it down. Once they get that figured,
Right.
they're probably
Right.
hoping they'll have that figured out by the time they drop it.
It seems like, isn't it all the animatronics keep going out or something? I mean,
Well,
is that-
in Splash Mountain, essentially everything was just on a loop, right? The animatronics just did the same thing over and over again. This actually has some timing to it, where you enter a scene and then you get addressed by the animatronic, and it's supposed to have and I think the timing stuff gets tripped.
Like the log hits a
what-
sensor.
Log hits a sensor and it gets off the timing, and then all of a sudden it's they got to restart the whole thing.
Gotcha. Oh, I'm probably making it down late July or early August with my two little ones. My
Okay.
wife's a soccer coach, and she gets into like 2-day soccer practices and stuff. And so we're kind of sitting around, right before school starts back. And I'm an administrator in a school and have a little bit of free time, and so we'll probably take the girls down and hoping to be able to experience Tiana's for myself. But anyways, you guys ever do solo dad trips with the kids? He sounds like you're going.
Yeah, so me and Adam have done
Couple this-
2 trips this year where it was me and him and our 3 boys. So Mike's son and his 2 kids. So it's all the boys. That's what we did for the Tiana's trip. So we pack us all up into one room and make it happen.
Well, I'm hashtag girl dad. It's a little hard. It's 3 and 8-year-olds. Emotions are running high. You know,
I feel you.
Well,
Amy-
emotions are running high with us too.
my 3-year-old's getting to the point where she's able to ride more and more things. She did slinky for the first time. Like she did soaring for the first time. But my 8-year-old now has done every ride in all the parks, and she's getting to the, like, she's now asking to do the challenge. She thinks she can do it. I'm like, you have no idea how excruciatingly tired you are at the end of these things. Like, I have 2 years until she hits the age where older brother's daughter did it. So I just got to beat him. I got 2 years to beat him. Somewhere in there, but
Heard of it all though.
Well, my son is 9, and I took him on an every ride points in a December when he was 7, and our goal was 30, and he hit 30 rides when he was 7.
did you feel like a bad dad at all during that day as you pushed, you know?
Actually, no, I stopped. He wanted to stop and eat, and I let him. Unlike what I did for Adam, I let it. And honestly, he could have gotten more. We could have gotten probably close to 37, 38, but he lost his steam at Epcot. And honestly, I set it up where we weren't going to finish. I set it up where we started in Magic, even though that wasn't the best strategy, because I know that if he's going to experience the thrill of the challenge, it's the Magic in the morning, just boom, 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 just getting on ride after ride after ride after ride, because that's so much fun.
Hey, 6 years later, after tons of counseling, my then 10-year-old, she's over it.
Okay. That's good to know.
I was going to say, the real challenge for Jason is Adam going to the bathroom, and then he has to get him out of there to stop admiring the bathroom in the process.
Yeah, that's true.
So-
Daughter loves those bathrooms. I don't know how often you listen. Adam is our bathroom reviewer. He has his favorite
Hey,
bathrooms.
my
at Disney
daughter's my 16-year-old daughter to this day, her favorite place in any park is the Tangled bathrooms. That's
a good one. That's one of the
I like
best.
the ones back by the Madonna and Elsa at Epcot too. Those are pretty solid.
Apparently, the Tangled girls have a whole bunch of stuff we don't have in there. I don't know. So
Who knew that?
Adam, what's the best one?
Adam's favorite is the companion bathroom at
Three
Three
Bridges.
Bridges at Coronado Springs.
True Bridges.
See,
Have y'all ever done a segment on bathrooms? That you're
we've
few
discussed
times,
it.
Yeah.
So the way to understand this is Adam's son
Yes.
is
6 years old.
which 6 years old
Weak
has
bladder.
to pee all the time, like all the time. Adam always has to know how far he is from
Yeah,
the
the
bathroom
closest
at
bathroom.
any moment.
Mhm.
Any moment.
Yes.
Because Harrison
scoping
goes
it out.
from I don't need to go to I have to go within the next 10 seconds or else all hell will break loose.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
So
So-
yeah, you guys have experience, on these trips.
Yeah, so the other thing that you gotta watch out for when you get those kids is on my last trip, I actually got to experience a whole different side of Disney that I never did. We were trying to get to the train to get over to Tiana's because we were going to make our ride. The kids were so excited. My son was like running around with his arms flailing and hits it on a pole, and we thought he broke his arm. He was holding it for so long. So we went to the clinic. We took the van over to the clinic, but by the time he got to the clinic, he finally, an hour and a half later, was like, it's not too bad. And so he actually was, he was fine. So we got back, but like, I was almost like, man, I got to see, got to go into the backstage van and ride off to the clinic and the ambulance, not really ambulance, whatever they call it.
I told a younger brother several years ago, probably the most hidden restroom, I think, in all of Disney has got to be the ones behind Figment back there.
Yeah.
When the poo comes out, butterflies and nobody. There's not even good signage. Nobody knows those are back there. That's a great spot back there.
Don't they have like old school music in those ones too?
They were still playing like original music back there. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. I actually was in those bathrooms when the building was evacuated that time. Jason, we were at the DVC lounge. I had to take him
showed
through
them the
that bathroom.
DVC lounge for the first time. We were there for maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes before it got evacuated, and found out later, like
Someone jumped off the ride, or something.
someone jumped off the ride or something. I don't know.
I think you guys gotta rebrand the beginning intro to this podcast. Not our guest, the Brothers WDW. It's got to be now traveling with the mouse. The bathrooms you didn't know about. I mean, be an all-time listen right here.
The one on Tom Sawyer Island's great too. I love that bathroom.
Never been
Back
there.
at Fort Langhorne.
Yeah. It's very secluded. Very few people know it's there too. So
I didn't know it was there.
Yeah.
He likes the hidden restrooms.
thanks.
it all fits really well with our comment about the logs earlier. So.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
If you need
it
to drop
does.
those logs.
If you need to drop those logs, you just get on poo and have a little splash.
Right.
Yeah. That's it.
Anyway,
So, well, that's your challenge. Any final thoughts about that before we sort of wrap up on this adventure with you guys?
We are very grateful to Parkeology and getting a chance to do this. Just still having it out there. Their process is a little different these days. In case you didn't know, there's not actually like a sign up anymore. They still follow along or whatever, but we can't believe we've been doing this since 2017. That's crazy. As we sit in 2024, for us, at the end of the day, it's still always, we just love hanging out together. We've kind of gotten to the point where we know we have permission to go do this once a year, sometimes twice a year. And we look forward to it. It's a blast. And of course, Tiana's or whatever, we're going to,
Personally,
when there's 53, we'll be back.
Yes.
When there's 53,
There's
we'll be
53.
back.
Personally, I just like to dedicate this challenge to dads in their 40s everywhere.
nice.
Won't still have to prove that they can do it. And so
Nice.
to all the weekend warriors, all right, I'm there for you. So
There you go.
Love
There
it.
you go. It's like an amateur winning the Masters right there.
There you go.
Right.
So that's what that's going to be like. Well, I hope to
Oh.
get back out there too. I haven't really done a serious run, especially been doing a little bit more just like the fun runs with every ride. But Parkeology is always going to have a special place because of, I think, the different sort of rules that are a little bit stricter that are really for those that want to hit that challenge hard. But I think that's going to be pretty fun, and I would love to see Shane make a legit attempt again. I've seen him go out for a couple of fun runs, but wouldn't mind seeing him out for a real attempt
I
again.
think, I can't speak to Shane. I think he's the one to still do it. As we've talked back and forth during runs, like as we were saying the other day, talking with the golden ticket or whatnot, he's still very much, he loves it. You can tell as we're just conversing with him about it, like he still gets excited when people run, and I think he will. I do. I think you're going to see some of the OG, or at least Kent, run soon, which is what I want to see. I have a blast watching others run, even if we're not out there. It's just, I don't know. It's a whole heck of a lot funner sometimes to like be able to check in on people throughout the day instead of having to run it yourself and be exhausted all day. But it's just cool to be able to watch it when you're out there. So yes, be all about it. Let's see what you can do. It's possible. We've done it 3 times now, and there's different.
That's the great thing. Is it means a lot for anybody who wants to do it. And so,
Adam, we got to get you that first completion.
I'm
He's
ready.
a one ride short, never got that completion. Got to get you
That
out
was
there.
the Haunted Mansion breakdown night of
Yes,
like
yeah.
over and over
Infamous
and over.
photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had our photo.
Haunted Mansion carousel back to back.
you were the 1,000th ghost. That's
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Well,
you
I
for having us
appreciate-
on, guys.
Of
Appreciate
course,
it.
we're glad to have you. We hope to see you again soon, either in the parks or on the show. But that is our show for today. If you want to catch up with us, where could you find us?
Well, we have Facebook, we have X, we have Instagram. That is all at TWTM Podcast. We have a Spreadshirt store, which you can get your exclusive TWTM merchandise. That is shop.spreadshirt.com/TWTM Podcast. We also have a YouTube channel in which we have a couple of videos out there. Where can you find that, Adam?
Our website, travelingwiththemouse.com. We also have an email address, podcast at travelingwiththemouse.com.
So this has been Traveling with the Mouse. This is Jason, got Adam, John, and for Ryan and Reagan. We'll see you on our next trip.